Hey, what's up? It's Tati, and I'm back with another review of ROH TV. This is episode number 3, and I don't want to be too critical. I'm really waiting until the episode after the Supercard of Honor pay-per-view before I can really feel like I know what direction they're going with. So they start off the night with Claudio versus Willie Mack. This was not for the title, and this match was an absolute great way to start the show. I'm telling you, man, Willie Mack, he's a really big dude. And some of the things that he does, you just do not expect for someone of his size to do. So this match, for me, at times, I feel like it can go either way. But ultimately, we know that with the Supercard of Honor pay-per-view coming up, and Claudio having the biggest title in ROH, it doesn't make sense for him to lose along the way, especially with the pay-per-view being so close. So I do feel like this was a really great matchup. But Willie Mack, man, I don't know what they're going to end up doing with this guy, but he is super, super talented. And, one concern that I do have here is that the show is taped prior to whatever's going on with AEW. So we do see some storylines crossing between both shows. However, currently right now, Claudio is a heel in AEW. However, in ROH, he's not. I'm not really sure if they're keeping that in mind or whatever. But it's just kind of a little bit weird because we know where things are in the present time, and the tape show should also reflect that as well. That's my only complaint, because we do see him again during Eddie Kingston's match, and he's still coming off as a babyface. So I'm not really sure if they're really paying attention to Claudio being a heel or a babyface. Despite wherever he is, if it's AEW or ROH. That's my only complaint, but this was a great match. Obviously, Claudio does end up taking the win after delivering an uppercut, and this match was absolutely great. I really hope that they do something big with Willie Mack in the near future. Second match of the night, we do have Dante Martin versus Mike Bennett. And holy shit, this was a very good match. This was the my second favorite match of the night. I really was not expecting too much from these guys. I do know that they're both great wrestlers, but I was not expecting to enjoy the match as much as I did. I do absolutely recommend checking this out if you want to check out any matches of the night. This was absolutely great. Now, we do obviously know that Mike is a heel, and they played on that throughout the match, with the Kingdom being ringside, and we also had Darius ringside for his brother Dante as well. But I really feel like, damn, like, even though we know Mike is heel, I felt like sometimes I was cheering for him too, because I'm like, damn, both of these guys are doing really, really well. And what I'm kind of afraid of is that we're going to keep seeing matches where, yes, the Kingdom is obviously doing a really great job in the ring, but they're on a losing streak. I don't really like that, especially when they're doing really, really well as far as delivering great matches. That's my only complaint. I really enjoyed this match. However, Dante ended up taking the win. And really, I was on both sides for each guy. I was like, damn, I want him to win at sometimes, and then at other times I wanted Dante to win. But either way, I do feel like this was a great way to showcase both of these guys. Now, after this match, we do have the Kingdom going ahead and jumping Dante after that match. So then Darius gets involved, and now we do have these two teams feuding. So we'll be seeing a match with them shortly. I love the way that they're building up the tag team division in ROH. AEW needs to be doing the same. Up next, we had another great tag team match. Slim J, Ari Daivari versus Metalik and Blake Christian. Both of these teams did really, really well. They have great chemistry with each other. They both obviously had time to tag with each other. So there was a lot of great chemistry. Whether or not whichever team is heel or not, I found myself enjoying both teams, and I didn't mind whoever would have won this match. One thing I do kind of hope they focus on is building these guys' personalities. I know a big focus right now is building the division itself, but I do feel like Metalik would definitely benefit if they would try to have like a bigger personality, something that make him stand out. I know a lot of times luchadors, they end up being kind of buried behind the mask, and we don't really get to see a lot of personality from them. So I'm hoping we do get to see a little bit more of him, rather than just as a performer. But either way, both the teams delivered. Throughout the match, I kind of found it a little bit weird that the commentators kept talking about Slim J's wife beaters being $350, and he had like 3 or 4 of them on throughout the match. And I was like, how many times are we going to talk about these shirts being $350? I don't know. It was a little bit weird, but either way, it was still a fun match. I really do like Slim J and Ari Daivari together. They have really great chemistry. Blake Christian and Metalik does end up picking up the win. And for some reason, they're moving on to being a trios. I have no idea why, but I thought this was all about the tag division, but later on they do, Slim J and Ari Daivari ends up forming a trio, and now they're asking for Blake and Metalik to also have another partner if they can find one, and they actually do find one, which ends up being AR Fox. Next, we had Eddie Kingston versus Jeeves K. And what can I say about this? I really feel like if they're gearing for Eddie Kingston to go against Claudio for the ROH title, he should be coming into that pay-per-view a lot more stronger. I just feel like the matches are a little bit too short. It's not really a great way to prove himself, for having a title shot. So during this match, we do have Claudio, who comes out with his cup of coffee and everything, and he's sitting out front row watching the match. And throughout the match, Eddie keeps focusing on Claudio rather than his opponent, and at times that does get in the way. And this match was like 5-6 minutes long, so it kind of seemed like it was a little bit of a waste of time to keep his focus on Claudio. At some point, we do have Eddie, who throws Jeeves towards the barricade, and Claudio's coffee ends up falling all over his clothes. Now, I don't mind because it looked great, but at that point, I was like, okay, like, what's the point of this? Because right when that happened, Claudio gets up and leaves. Okay, so now they take the match back into the ring, and Eddie ends up winning. I just feel like it's not strong enough for him to prove himself to go into that pay-per-view. I don't like how they're going about this. Eddie is a really, really great guy. He's great on the mic, and he's a great wrestler as well. I just feel like the build to this is not where it should be. Kind of disappointed. Up next, we had Athena versus Hyan, and honestly, I kind of was disappointed with this. It was a decent match, yes. The title was not up for grabs here. However, if Hyan did win this match, or if she lasts 10 minutes, then she'll have a title shot in the near future. Obviously, Athena did end up winning this match. I just felt like compared to what we saw last week with Athena and Willow Nightingale, I was like, damn, like, it just didn't feel the same. So, like I said, it was decent, but not that great. I do wish the match would have been a lot better for Hyan, especially since this is her first time wrestling with ROH since, they've been back on TV. But it did fall a little flat for me. Athena pretty much dominated most of the match, and I really love how she keeps herself in character at all times. I absolutely love that, and that's what we need as a women's champion. But the match did fall a little flat for me. And later on that night, we do have Athena, who issues a challenge to Yuka Sakazaki, and she's been in Japan ever since their last match. Maybe like, I want to say 3 weeks ago at least. And she's been there ever since. So she opens up a challenge to her to come back to the US and have a match with her at the Supercard of Honor pay-per-view. And I like that because they've had a little bit of a feud going on Dark and Elevation. So, if you don't watch those shows, you're kind of missing the build to some of these matches. So, I do feel like Yuka will definitely accept and she'll come back. Will she win the title? I doubt that. Up next, we had Silas Young versus Marcus Cross. This match wasn't all that to me. However, Silas was very impressive. I was just like, whoa, he kind of gives me Jake the Snake vibes, just physically, like his physical appearance, not necessarily his moves, but I was really impressed with him in the ring. I kind of felt like Marcus, I don't know, I didn't enjoy this match. Like Marcus didn't really do too much for me, and Silas ended up stealing the show when it came to their match, even though I didn't feel like it was all that. But everything that he did, I was just like, wow, he should not be able to do stuff like that. Just like how Willie Mack is able to do certain things that you feel like they wouldn't be able to do with their size. Silas does the same thing. Silas does end up picking up the win, and he is issuing a challenge for anyone to go against him. And who accepts a challenge? Shane Taylor. So they're going to be going against each other. I do believe that's next week. I'm not 100% sure, but I am so excited to see these two lock up. I know it's going to be a great match for sure. Up next, we had a 6-man tag team championship match with the Embassy versus Dalton Castle and the Boys. So this was a rematch. I don't even really know why this happened tonight. I was really expecting this to be at the Supercard of Honor pay-per-view. I have been complaining about the lack of, presence of the 6-man championship with AEW/ROH. This is their second time that we've seen them since they won the title back in December. However, this time I feel like we got to see a better out of the Embassy. They work really, really well together. But I do see, like with the boys and them being twins and obviously having experience with each other, you can really see how much chemistry the boys have with each other and with Dalton a little bit more, since they have more of that experience amongst themselves compared to the Embassy. At times we do see Prince Nana getting involved, but this was actually a really great match, and I'm like, finally we can see a little bit more who the Embassy are. Now, like I said, I was surprised to see that they were having this rematch, just on the TV show rather than on the pay-per-view. After this match, well, first of all, the Embassy does end up taking the win. And like towards the end, we really get to see the Embassy being a really great cohesive unit together. Dalton Castle was knocked out of the ring, so we didn't really see him for about 3 to 5 minutes towards the end of the match. And the Embassy decimated the boys, and they ended up taking up the win. Now, after this match, we do have the Embassy beating up on Dalton Castle and the boys. And who comes out? Blake Christian, Metalik, and AR Fox. And I'm like, holy shit, maybe that's the next match that's gonna go on for the 6-man tag. Or maybe we might have more than just 2 teams going for the 6-man tag championship. So like how we had the other night with the trios, where we had 3 teams, we might have another 3 or 4 teams for the 6-man tag. That would be something really interesting to do to shake up things with that division. So I think they're going the right way. Not too sure where they're going with this as far as what the match would be at the pay-per-view, since there's nothing confirmed as of today, but I like where they're going with this. Not bad. Next, we had Madison Rayne versus Trish Adora. I'm going to be honest, I felt like at times there were awkward moments in this match, and I felt like they didn't have the best of chemistry with each other. Both of them are really great wrestlers. I just wasn't feeling these two together in the ring. I don't know what it was that made things a little bit off between these two, but definitely there was lacking in chemistry. I don't have too much great things to say about this match, but I do appreciate ROH having at least 2 women's match per night. This is something that I feel like AEW should do at least once in a while to help build the women's division. So I really like how they have 2 matches with the ladies consistently since the first episode. So I hope they keep going with this. But like I said, the chemistry was off with these 2. Trish just ends up winning via lariat. It was a nice strong lariat, but I was like, well, at least it's over. I was expecting a little bit more. She had a really great match last week. So yeah, things died down for her this week. Didn't really care for this one. Up next, we had the Outrunners versus Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels. What can I say about this? So here's my complaint. The match definitely was not bad. It was decent. My complaint is that it was too short, and they seem to be probably one of the front runners to being part of the Reach for the Sky ladder match for the tag team titles. And I feel like since we have not seen them tag and God knows how long, Matt and Christopher should have had a better showing during this match. We haven't seen them in a long time together, and it's like you kind of want to prove why y'all should be in this match and why you guys should be the next Ring of Honor tag team champions. And I felt like compared to what we've seen them done in the past, this just wasn't a great way to showcase that, especially since the match was so quick. I was a little bit disappointed. I mean, I am cheering for them, and I don't know if I really want them to win the ladder match, but I do feel like they're great competitors, and they will offer some really great moments within that match. But am I convinced that they should be champions right now? No. Up next, we had the Pure Championship up for grabs. So Wheeler Yuta versus Clark Connors. We haven't seen Clark in a minute, but these two are not strangers to each other in the ring. They had really great chemistry throughout this match. And honestly, this was the match of the night. I really did enjoy this. Now, I know a lot of people probably just don't understand the whole Pure rules when it comes to this match. I don't think it's difficult to really follow along. It's just that we don't see it often, and it's not a typical wrestling match. But with these rules, it kind of does make things a little bit more technical compared to other matches. So for me, since that's like my favorite type of style when it comes to wrestling, I really did enjoy this match. And I didn't think that Clark was going to end up winning this, but had this been a pay-per-view match, I would definitely think that he would have been close to winning that title. Throughout the match, though, I will say this. The crowd was booing Wheeler Yuta, and I kind of thought that was a little bit strange compared to earlier with Claudio. Everybody's cheering for him. They want him to win, and he's coming off as a babyface. And then way at the end of the night, we have Wheeler Yuta who's being booed by the crowd. And I'm like, it's supposed to be for both of them. So maybe it's not reading that they're both are heel at this time. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But how the crowd was receiving Wheeler Yuta throughout that match, I felt like that's exactly how it should have been with Claudio as well. But either way, I really did enjoy this match. I recommend, checking this out if you would like to watch some of the show. This is definitely a match to watch. Now, we do have Wheeler Yuta taking the win. Now, and I feel like when it comes to these matches, we really do see how much Wheeler Yuta has improved as a wrestler. And obviously having being a champion twice, the experience with these rules really show throughout these matches. So he does come off to be more dominating because of these rules. Now, Wheeler Yuta picks up the win, and after that match, he is issuing to have a match with Shibata. Oh my God. I'm like, whoa, I was not expecting that at all. We are off to the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. There is one more pay-per-view before the Forbidden Door, but this is around the time that we really need to get the presence of these Japanese wrestlers coming in so that it doesn't feel rushed. I guess you can say last year it did feel sort of rushed by the time they announced the pay-per-view, and when the pay-per-view actually happened, certain things felt like it came up too quickly and not enough of a build. So this is what I'm hoping for, that we do start seeing, these guys from New Japan coming in as soon as possible so we can have a really solid build by the time June comes around. And you know what? They're having that pay-per-view in Canada. Can you believe that? Like, I'm just like, shit. Like, I really wish it'd come back to Florida. I would love to go to a Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Canada, you guys are so fucking lucky. Either way, I really did enjoy this show overall. I don't want to be too critical about it right now because I just feel like they need some time. This is only week 3. After the pay-per-view, this is when we're really going to start feeling the impact of the changes with ROH. I really hope that's going to be a solid card because last year we had 3 pay-per-views, ROH pay-per-views, and all pay-per-views were solid as hell, and we had no weekly shows. So there's no excuse, to be completely honest, if they can't deliver something really solid this time around, with them now having at least a month worth of TV episodes before the pay-per-view. So compared to last year, they really need to hit it out the park. No, we're not going to have FTR. Well, most likely we're not. And no, we obviously not going to have the Briscoes. But I still feel like these guys are really putting in the work with ROH right now. So I'm expecting to see something really, really great. Guys, thanks so much for watching my review. I will be back tomorrow with my review for Rampage. I think Rampage starts at 11:30 at night. Like, holy shit. That's much later than usual. I hate when there's all these sports going on, and sometimes Rampage is way early in the day and sometimes it's way later at night. Either way, I'm expecting a good show. Thanks for watching. Bye.